I used to believe that family was like a lighthouse, steady, glowing, always there to guide you safely when the world grew dark. But mine wasn't a beacon. It was a wrecked vessel, rusted and jagged, waiting to slice me open the moment I drifted too close. I didn't realize it, couldn't see it, until their messages lit up my screen like a sudden explosion in the night. Words meant to wound, pixelated poison cloaked in laughter. They once called me their anchor, their strength, but in truth, I was just a convenient tool used, drained, and mocked the moment my back was turned. This is how I escaped their grasp, and what it cost me. Ever cared for someone so deeply you bleed without hesitation? Share it in the comments. Be honest, I read every single one. That morning, my apartment felt heavy. The air was thick, steeped in old coffee and silent disappointment. My laptop buzzed softly in front of me, casting a glow on a screen filled with unpaid bills. I was suffocating beneath numbers I couldn't erase. $3,200, Mom's hospital charges. $1,500, my brother Nate's overdue car loan. $800, my cousin Leia's so-called emergency spa retreat. The fridge was nearly bare, just a half-used carton of eggs and a flicker of hope that someday I'd eat something besides rice. Then came the storm. Nora, my little sister, blew through the door like a gust of wind with an attitude. Designer bag slung carelessly over one shoulder. She tossed her tablet onto my table. It clattered loudly, rattling something inside me. My phone's dead. Where's your charger? She said without looking at me. I pushed the charger across the table, forcing a tight-lipped smile. I'm working, I murmured. She rolled her eyes like I was a burden. Right, you're a tragic little spreadsheet life. You're practically a saint. The sarcasm was familiar, sharp but nothing new. She stepped out to take a phone call, leaving her tablet unlocked on my table. I didn't plan to snoop. I really didn't. But then the screen lit up. A notification flashed. My name, Elise. One tap. My heart slammed against my ribs. A group chat, labeled Ken. The words cut like a falling ceiling. She's such a pushover, lol. Just keep her sweet. She'll pay for everything. Nate, remind her she's the best daughter. She'll cover my meds forever. Mom, Elise thinks love means draining her bank account. Let her. Leia, each message stacked like bricks building a prison around me. 5 years. $112,000. My savings. My skipped meals. Nights I stayed up worrying, calculating, breaking, so they could live like royalty while I barely scraped by, and they laughed. I didn't shout. I didn't sob. Something colder than anger settled over me, like the air before a snowstorm. That night, I cooked dinner. A special one. Rosemary-crusted chicken, Nora's favorite. The aroma filled the apartment, warm and comforting. She lounged on my couch like a queen, smiling wide. You're too good to us, Elise. Mom gushed on video chat, tears in her voice but nowhere else. Dad added, You hold this family together, kid. Nora grinned and winked. Don't ever change, sis. I smiled back, teeth clenched, eyes calm. Never change, I said. As I washed the dishes, I fired off 3 emails. One to my accountant, one to my lawyer, one to my landlord. Then I turned off the lights and watched them leave, still blind to the hurricane forming behind my silence. The next morning, the apartment was still, almost sacred in its quiet. No buzzing phone from Nora begging for latte money. No guilt-laced calls from Mom about putting family first. Only the gentle hum of my fridge and the tap-tap of my keyboard. One last message went out, this time to my bank. Freeze all joint accounts. Then I shut down my phone. I walked the streets of the city, passing places that once held meaning. The cafe where Nora once snapped at me because I forgot her oat milk latte. The boutique where Mom had accidentally charged a $2,000 scarf to my card. Every block was lined with reminders, monuments to my sacrifices and my willful ignorance. But that day, I wasn't their safety net anymore. I wasn't their bank account. I was a woman unraveling the rope they'd tied around my throat. Inside the sharp, modern office of Rachel Vaughn, a lawyer known for being more blade than woman, I laid out the screenshots. She skimmed through them silently, then glanced up, lips curling into a smile that could cut steel. "Ready to sever the ties?" she asked. "I'm not just ready," I said, voice calm, grounded. "I want it sealed in blood." That night it began. Voicemails, text calls. Nora's voice shrill and frantic. "Elise, my car got declined at Nordstrom. What is going on?" Dad's car loan had bounced. Mom's prescription was denied. Panic replaced their usual entitlement. Then came Mom's text. "Honey, is there some issue with the bank?" Dad's call followed, his tone low and tense. "Call me. Now." I ignored all of them, swirling wine in my glass while the group chat erupted like a volcano. "Nora, what did you do?" "Mom, Elise, you're overreacting. We were just joking." "Leia, fix this, or we're done." "Dad, enough of this." I typed a single message. "I know everything." Then I left the chat. But that wasn't the end. Not yet. I got in my car and drove to the house I had quietly kept afloat for years. The one where I'd given up my bed so Nora could have the guest room. The place where I curled up on a worn-out couch and called it just temporary. The spare key was still tucked inside the hollow fake rock by the porch. I let myself in. In the dining room, I laid it all out. Receipts, statements, documented proof of everything I'd sacrificed. $112,000 over 6 years. It was more than money. It was nights without rest, meals skipped, birthdays spent budgeting. On the table, I left a handwritten note. "I was your foundation. Build your own now." When I returned to my apartment, my phone looked like a battlefield. 57 missed calls. Mom's voice on a voicemail cracked with emotion. "We didn't mean any of it. Elise, please, you're taking this too far." I deleted it, not because I was angry, but because I knew it wasn't regret. It was fear. And then Nora arrived. Her eyes were red and swollen. Mascara streaked down her face like war paint. "Let me in," she demanded, banging on the door. "We need to talk." "No," I replied, voice flat and unmoving. "It was a joke. You're blowing it way out of proportion." "Jokes don't cost me my future." I snapped. She crossed her arms. "You love giving." That's all it was. I stared at her, cold and unwavering. "You love what I gave." "Not me." She scoffed. "You'll come around. You always do." I gave her one last smile, glacial and final. "Not this time." And I shut the door. 2 days later, something shifted. The apartment looked untouched, but felt wrong. Books were slightly off. My coffee mug was turned the opposite direction. A framed photo of me and Dad at my graduation, his only real presence in my adult life, was flipped face down, and on the counter, a note, scrawled handwriting, jagged, like it had been carved instead of written. "You can't run from us." My heartbeat thundered in my ears, but I didn't falter. I changed the locks, installed cameras, called Rachel. "Restraining orders," I said. "All of them." She didn't blink. "Even your parents?" "Especially my parents." Then I did the one thing they never imagined. I told the world. I wrote it all down. Every betrayal, every manipulated dollar, every lie wrapped in a hug. Posted it to my blog, unedited, unfiltered, unforgiving. It went viral. Strangers commented in waves. "This happened to me. You gave me courage." My pain became someone else's permission to break free. And of course, they retaliated. Nora's voicemail hissed with venom. "You humiliated us." Dad texted a pathetic attempt at guilt. "Real family forgives." "You're weak." Mom sent an essay about blood ties and tradition. But it was too late. Their grip had slipped. The truth had been seen. And I finally was free. Now I sit in a quiet cabin in Maine. Outside, snow falls softly. Inside, my coffee is hot, my shoulders are light. For the first time, their weight isn't mine to carry. Freedom isn't loud. It's still. It's silent. It's peace. But that note, the one they left, it still lingers. They're not finished. And neither am I. Have you ever been drained by the people who were supposed to love you? Tell me in the comments. How did you break free? Or are you still in the middle of it? I'm here. I'm reading. Let's carry this together.